Greetings, gentlemen. So it's going to be a little trucking talk and talk about what I want to build when I eventually build my own truck. But why did Peterbilt put the fridge down here? And we're going to get into the differences, ergonomics, and all that. So this is OTR Ogre and Corgi, and hey, if you like what I'm doing, like, link, and subscribe. Just do a quick little video to talk about how personally I want to build it and the technology I want to adapt. So when I look at these trucks, for instance, this Peterbilt, they put the fridge all the way down here, and every damn Peterbilt I've had in the last number of years puts it down here, and I don't know why they do it that way. I understand heat rises, cold goes down, so maybe that's it. And plus, they got this big area to store your clothing and all that. Okay, personally, I just turn it into storage. So, for me, I would rather have the fridge here. I think Freightliner, when I had a Freightliner shaker, it had it here. It had the freight shaker with the fridge right here. And then it had a little slide out thing like this, which, by the way, I like what they got going on here. This makes total sense. But this down here means, hey, I got a roll of Jimmy Dean in there, and it's all the way in the back, and I got to grab my bamboo back scratcher. You buy them at the Dollar Tree. It's well worth the buck you spend. Reach in the back. Oh, Dad, get that ring. Get the Jimmy Dean there. Use the back scratcher to grab stuff. Hell, the way they build these trailers with the air button in the back, and you put the skirt, and then basically the tire's so close to the skirt, you're really struggling to get back to reach that damn button. Back scratcher, man, just easy grab. No reason to strain or get your clothes all dirty. But yeah, no, things I would do differently. By the way, I like the old trailers that were manual, where all they needed to do was make to where there was some sort of a nub or something, or maybe make something to where you could hang up the hook. Maybe tie a piece of wire or something. I don't know. You guys get my point, because those things have that tiny nub, and then you jiggle the trailer and it let it go, and you're like, Jesus Christ, man, it's not working. But when I build my own truck, I know it's got to have cruise control, and I know that's a pretty basic thing, but it's got to be pre-emissions. So people saying, 2008 or something. Like, I'm looking at maybe a Detroit 60. I like Detroit. It's cheap to rebuild. People say, well, you're only going to get 5 to 7. So 6 on an average day. Well, I've done the calculations, and most of these cats out here that have got these new trucks, maybe they're getting 8. But then I calculate how much your payment is, or your lease payment, and then it's like, the line I've heard is if that, because I could pay cash for a brand new truck. That ain't nothing for me. I'm good at saving my money. In fact, you guys are bored, scroll all the way down to the bottom, and I did a video that shows how you can save $50,000 per year, driving a company job. That's not even doing 1099. See, that's new information to me. So, by the way, you should look up HT Logistics as well, because, I got to be real. HT is giving me knowledge that nobody was talking about, and HT Logistics. But point of it is he's got a wealth of information, So people are like, why don't you do more videos? Well, honestly, most people don't really give a shit about trucking stuff. So I could tell you some stuff, but I'm still learning myself. So maybe down the road, my journey I'll record some of my journey. You can see what I'm doing. But I think, say I got an old freight shaker or something that has a good Detroit motor, and it's got cruise control, but no emissions. All right. Buy that truck cheap. Buy it maybe without a rebuild. Maybe people say, no, you don't want an old motor. No, I want to be able to claim that rebuild on my taxes. Just like if I rebuild that transmission, I want to claim that. I can claim that on my taxes, so whatever I'm doing that year at a company, if I switch over to a 1099 job, I can claim that. So I get that older model, and I want to adapt modern technology to some degree to it. Now, what do you mean modern technology? Think about this. This truck here has a battery-powered APU. And really, a battery-powered APU is really no different than an old system on an RV, where you have a battery switch. You've got your alternator, and then you got your main batteries, and then you got your sides. So basically, once your main batteries get up to 80%, it switches to your auxiliary. So then your auxiliary charges up, and people say, "Well, man, no, you want one of those Thermo Kings." No, I don't. I don't want to have that level of maintenance. The only problem that this system ever has is occasionally you got to take the filter out and blow it out, the air filter. That's it. I imagine occasionally it's going to need a recharge on the refrigerant coolant, but you're going to need to do that on any APU anyways. People say, "Why are you so stuck on having an APU, man?" Well, I don't want to rebuild a motor just so I can idle my friggin' motor time away. I mean, say you're there for 10 hours. 10 hours a night, and you're idling the whole time. That's you times, okay, if you do 2 years of idling, that equals 1 year of driving if you just look at the tachometer. Now, I know it's not the same level of deal there, and it's not the same wear and tear and tire, but still, you get my point. It's a waste of fuel, it's a waste of motor movement, and I just think it's a waste of my money versus me buying a system on the side of the truck. That I got a truck that's got a rebuilt motor, transmission's got all the stuff redone, so I've got 1 million miles on that truck if I take care of it. Well, I take care of it even better if I put on that battery APU. And then from there, I've got the AC system where most of these guys down in the South with their new trucks, they still think like an old man in the sense that they're like idling their truck the whole day. I don't have to do that. I get to a shipper, I got a full charge because I just drove for like an hour or two, or if it was cool last night, I didn't even run the damn thing. But I'm sitting there, I'm in AC comfort back here in the bunk. In the front, I might, just because the windshield I found was basically a magnifier of the heat. So what I found to do is that, of course you put up your window screens, but then, those breezeways, you put the breezeways up. And then that causes the hot situation in the front, 100 degrees, and it just blows that hot air out. Just takes the hot air out. And if you happen to have one of those high bunks, maybe open the top windows up there, and then cold sinks. So that AC from that battery-powered APU is going to be right where you and the dog are at. And the heat, even in the bunk, is going to go out those windows. So I've figured this out pretty well. Now, as far as how I build a truck, normally my shower bag and this garbage can would be right here. And people say, why don't you put that up near the front seat? Passenger side, which, by the way, if I build my truck, there ain't going to be no damn passenger seat. Because I have my crock pots. And on top of the dog box, which is bolted down, and this is all strapped and all this in. It ain't going nowhere. I would build that entirely different. There wouldn't be a passenger seat. I would build that probably out of wood or something. And then set it up to where I could easy unclick and bolt out stuff. Because right now, it's the seat that makes that a pain in the ass. But got my cooking set up front. I can run that off of the inverter while I'm driving down the road. Excess power is being produced by the system. So I basically make the eats really cheap if I want to. And then I set it up to where, why battery APU versus engine? Well, the engine is going to take maintenance and time and money. Yeah, I don't even know how many times when I had rig masters, because that's what some of the trucks I drove with came with it. They'd have a breakdown. And then I got to deal with mechanics, especially when you're dealing with, company mechanics, and they feel like they need to do their job. They get paid whether they do a good job or not. That's part of the reason I don't care for company mechanics versus a guy who works at his own shop. His reputation matters. If he feels like not doing his work, he's not going to be in business very long. As where the guy at a company, he can dick you around. And so I look at that battery APU and I'm like, well, wait a minute, how to make this even better? This current Peterbilt has a shore power plug right next to the engine heater plug. And of course you got to get that weird, plug-in piece where it's switched the other way, but I got one of those. And I can tell you, it's amazing. You plug into the regular grid, say you're at home or at the terminal, and it tops off the main battery up to 80%, and then it starts switching over to the other battery, and it starts trickle charging that. And once you get it full, it'll basically say it's topped off, and you're running the AC and all that, watching TV, just chilling, watching whatever's over the airwaves. You get like 60 to 100 channels, some of these areas. I'm like, hey, Star Trek's on, fuck yeah. But build that truck to where if I'm at home, I can just plug in. So I don't really, as far as building a house, I'm not going to build a house, I'm going to build a shop. And maybe have a shop apartment with a pool table as a joke. Something one of my friends had back when I was a kid. But the thing of it is that I can plug in. And people say, well, where are you going to plug it on the road? Maybe I'll buy a generator. And if I'm stuck, let's say I decide I don't feel like going and stopping driving, I paid for the insurance for a year. It's like what HTH suggested. Well, maybe you just cherry pick loads during the winter. Like I just pick places that are nice all winter because I own my truck. And my cost of it business is next to nothing. I ain't doing none of this lease garbage. I did the numbers on it. I mean, you look at the cost of $150,000 in 4 years versus $30,000, And then in the 30,000, you can claim a lot of that rebuild cost on your taxes. So, I look at that and you're like, okay, so $150 a week versus what, 800, 1,000? It's no contest. I mean, you look at even with the fuel mileage you're losing, you're still like what, $650 ahead of the average lease driver per week. And how I can build the ultimate master truck. I just got to figure out what is the greatest model. Got to have heated tanks, the ability to put that APU system on here, and basically, the fuck else? Cruise control. It's just got to have cruise control, but be pre-emissions. So, I got a lot of research to do. I still got a lot to learn, but I'm kind of enjoying learning it because it feels like this is the new horizon. I've been stagnant for a lot of years. I was okay with where I was, and then one day I just started thinking, man, I either need to quit, go out and lose the weight, which I can lose the weight while I'm in the truck. At least I'm gonna try. Or I know, don't eat that, or I was like, just fuck it, like either quit and just go take a couple of years off, or I want to build something better because I'm only 40 years old. I'm not young, but I'm not old either. I ain't that old. I got the right amount of gray hair in my beard to finally get where I want to be. But I'm telling you, if I just doing this company stuff, I don't mind companies. In fact, I think company's better than lease. But no, I'm not gonna just work my life away. Even though I love driving truck, I'm not just gonna work and not accomplish something. I need a new horizon. I guess this is it. So, y'all have a good one. I've rambled on for a while. Try to build something better. All right, so y'all take it easy.